Hey, Training Center. Mike here. You know, anytime I walk through the Gulch, most of which did not physically exist when I first moved here in 2017, I just can't help but think of that scene from Inception when Leo and Elliot are just creating a cityscape as they walk through that dream land or wherever it is that they're occupying. They're just throwing up buildings as they're walking through, setting the stage for the dream that's about to take place. Well, making an improv scene, as we know, is a lot like dream making, and we've got to pay extra special attention to environment, setting, and context if we really want to make meaning of all that's following. Well, today on a special mic drop, I talk with filmmaker and recent Training Center graduate Josh Ickes about just how important context, setting, and environment can be to an improv scene, but then also how we can take those scenes and extend them to the screen themselves. He's got a special elective class called Sketch for the Screen coming up that I could not more highly recommend. So head over to the website to check that out and hear more about it in our full conversation just ahead. Hello, Josh.
Hello, Mike. How are you today?
I am doing pretty well. Very fun thing for me, Josh, is that I met you in this community, but
hmm
tangentially, and worked with you before. And you're something that I'm starting to see more and more is a lot of different parts of the creative community in Nashville coming into the improv scene and finding a new or renewed creative life on our shores. That wasn't really a question. That was just something I wanted to say. I'm just,
That's a good
it's
statement.
it's so fun to see you come take classes this past year and get more involved in stuff, even though I've known you for a bit longer than that.
Right. Yeah, it is rad. And it's one of those things that I've gotten to see improv as a whole as like this connector to other people kind of in my field and in other creative fields where they might not have studied at Third Coast,
Yeah.
but I now have friends who studied in Chicago at different places, in New York, and obviously Elizabeth down in Florida. And
Yeah.
um, it's just kind of you see a lot of film people, a lot of performers, a lot of musicians who also have that itch, and they like to play that way.
Speaking of which,
Mhm.
you like to shoot things with camera. You like to put funny things on film.
It is a it's a both a vocation, an avocation,
Yeah.
a hobby, pastime, all the things, all of
Yeah.
those good ones.
And the most enviable one, as far as I'm just intimidated always to be in your presence because you're the wizard, the true wizard. I've grew up idolizing Steven Spielberg and the like,
Uh-huh.
so people who actually know how to do the thing that I think is the most powerful thing in the world. You're Gandalf to me. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
And speaking of putting funny things on camera,
hmm
a group that has been forming or sprouted up out of this past year of improv that you've been doing, I believe is called Location Island.
hmm
And I chortled laughed to myself earlier as I was going through the Location Island Instagram page. I'm encouraging everyone to go follow at Location Island on Instagram because I see Gil, I see Zed, I see Prash, I good to see Nikki, and they are giving some of the funniest introductions that I have seen recently.
So, Location Island came about from um, a few of us who had been in like levels three. Actually, Nikki and I go back to level one. My first scene with anyone in the training center was with Nikki, and we did basically like a weird ass. As our opening, it was
Yes.
the like slightly conducted interview when Harry met Sally style
Yeah.
thing, which is, just a great way to get comfortable. Like I love that as a introduction to improv. You're not on your feet,
Yeah.
which is great. You don't have
Yeah.
to do any
Something
out on your
oddly
feet.
freeing about that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we had been together a lot, and all of us had kind of outside conversations, and so we melded kind of a bunch of our interests. I think Zito really pushed the reality show aspect, which is it's very fun, and we can kind of morph it a little bit, but it's basically kind of take improvised movie,
Yeah.
uh, where we have a producer instead of a director, but the producer can step in. We have different levers that we can pull to trick people into game in different scenes.
Yeah.
You can force time jumps in our process. You can mix up the pairings of people. One of the things I like to do is pull the audience of like do we like so and so? Should they continue down this path or should they get a new hobby? Um, and it's fun to play with the different people as producers as well, because we all have slightly different approaches we take. And we pull different games and different scenarios out of people.
Oh, that's fun. So yeah, like depending on the producer, you might get this is the more of the Prash POV show. Like we're gonna get a little bit more of that flavor in this one.
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome.
And it's been really fun because everyone has like stepped up to the plate and done it, even though it's like kind of nerve-wracking to host and then produce because you're a character, but you're also the angel and devil on people's shoulders,
Yeah.
seeding little information. So it's like you get both the reality show, because I've worked on reality shows before,
Hmm.
um, and I won't specifically name things, but I actually saw talent stop, like ask for their producer to come in and like, hey, is this something I would do? Is this going to like lead to that other thing we want to do? Um, which is just
That's
wild.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because you would see that on a movie set for
Yes.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's a really fun format, and I'm not going to say that like we invented anything because there's nothing to invent ever. Everything's been done, but it's a fun like mashup of different forms, and we can pull
Yes.
different things. And we recently added some cast members as
Oh,
well. We had
awesome.
auditions a couple weeks ago.
Saying like this hasn't we're not reinventing anything necessarily. It's a mashup of a lot of different things. And one of the great things that you are doing that is throughout improv that I love so much is character focus. I mean,
Hmm.
just seeing from just the introductions themselves on the Instagram page, it seems as though y'all are, as a group, drawing out character like throughout the course of this show. I don't know if that's true, but it seems character focused.
It is, and it's kind of twofold because we initially started with kind of like heightened versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
So you see that in the those introductions, but then also uh, we've kind of switched things up a little bit. Our initial get is we ask people when they're coming in to basically blind line us on a piece of paper, write down something you want to get off your chest, write down a secret, write down something juicy you've heard recently.
Yeah.
And uh, we start with a confessional, just like on a reality show. The producer calls different people up, and your first line is your blind line that you pull from the bucket from the submissions from the audience. And from there, that's your character.
Yeah.
You're off to the races with that, and it's so good to have like a statement
Yeah.
of I hate this, I love this, so and so gets on my nerves. Like these kind of they're very juicy, and it gives you a lot to bite into immediately to do a little monologue,
Yeah.
and then you get to do the if this then what else.
Yeah. Like I'm
Yeah.
just going to start from a justification for this very bold statement, and that's it's going to unfold and trickle down from there.
Yeah. And then you get to bounce all the characters off of each other and find out their loves and hates and their different pairings, and it's really fun that way.
Fantastic. When is the next time that we will be able to consume some Location Island action?
I think we've got a couple like smaller things set up, but our big one is main stage July 31st.
Heck yeah.
And we were kind of trying to lay low a little bit, try to get in some reps, but like
Yeah.
maybe some opening sets or do some jams in smaller settings where we can do like maybe 15-20 minute set to keep ourselves ready,
Yeah.
but also not wear our audience because obviously we want that main stage show to go off.
Oh,
We
yeah,
want
yeah,
everyone to show up for it. We don't want them
yeah.
tired.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, I'll ask you one last question, and this is just sort of connected to improv training over the past years, coming from your background, being more behind the camera and from more of a producer role.
Mhm.
Improv asks you to sort of get into the mix and sort of step in front of the camera in some ways.
Mhm.
To put it, does that make sense? Is
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
something that was a challenge to you over this past year? Is that something that a challenge that you've embraced? And even just mentioning before how like and this is true for me, a weird ass or a bat or doing something like that.
Hmm.
There's something oddly freeing where I don't have to physically be like
Right.
in place. And so
Yeah.
I wonder if like your director brain sort of deals with that dichotomy a little bit of when I'm feeling more comfortable being in front of the camera
Hmm.
or outside of it. Yeah.
It is part of the reason I started was because I wanted to get more attuned to actors,
Yeah.
and also to get out of my kind of logical, this can't be done
Yeah.
brain, that mindset. Um, because I did drama through school. I did stage, we did different kind of readings, uh, full productions. We would go to community centers, and like hospice care, even, go and tour like schools and do things
Yeah.
for the smaller children. And I didn't realize it at the time. We actually did some kind of improv games
Yeah.
of like giving the participant a script, and they're reading the script and we're all
Yeah.
bouncing around, things like that. And then obviously you do as warm-ups, you do that kind of stuff. But I
Yeah.
hadn't done it in years. So that was like kind of my impetus to get back into it. And honestly, you guys finding community was a big part of it.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I do always have that, uh, how is this working? How is the story working? How is the character working stuff going on in the back of my head?
Yeah.
And one of the nice things about Location Island is when I'm a player, I get to let go of that because the producer is there to take care of me.
Yeah.
And obviously your other castmates, but like explicitly you have someone who is worrying about story, and escalating that thing. And then when I'm in producer mode, I just get to let that beast go. Like the director brain
Yeah.
gets to be full
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I did want to touch on the class that I'm coming up with, or that I came up with.
Yeah.
I thought that it would be cool to kind of bring my different aspects together and offer a sketch for the screen class,
Excellent.
which it's something. My first paying film gigs here in town back in 2003 was actually putting together EPKs for stand-up comedians.
Oh, cool.
My first night landing back in town, I was gone for a couple years, came back. Um, I got asked by a friend to go shoot. I don't remember who all was there, but some of the people who are still kind of in the community were at this stand-up night, and it was just so cool. But a lot of that spun into like we're doing sketch, we're doing other types of shows, and I got to do video content for them. And then Scott Field invited me to a sketch group, probably 2011, 2012.
Oh, this is good
Uh,
history here, by the way. So Scott Field, co-owner of Third Coast Comedy Club. All right, keep going.
Yes. Also, the first time I got on stage for an improv show was in Armando that Scott invited me to be the monologist for,
Oh,
which
nice.
was so cool. Um, but so I've got like the specific sketch background, but also all of my film production background. And I think that there is an availability for people to really up their game and utilize film and utilize editing techniques and just framing and things that stage sketch doesn't challenge you with.
Yeah.
It's not the same format. Even something like Saturday Night Live is they can't do much filmically. That's why you've
Yeah.
had going back to the beginning, you had Albert Brooks
Right.
doing the filmed pieces, and then Lonely Island and Please
Yeah.
Don't Destroy and all these different
Yeah.
groups over the years that have taken that on, and they get to use more of the medium.
Yeah.
So I think I'm very excited to get to bring this and like get to bring some of the um, just the skills that I've learned
Yeah.
and kind of the thought processes and the intentionality to people, um, from like, here's the idea. What can we do with it? How far can we take it if you have these extra tools in your tool belt?
Oh, yeah. And it's the wonderful extension of like the improvised movie and Location Island thing. It's like we
Hmm.
can play around with the conventions in those spaces, but you're still always going to be limited as to using the full power of the medium a little bit. And
Hmm.
so it's like, you know, I don't know if you like Tropic Thunder as a
Oh,
movie,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just an unbelievable a testament to be Ben Stiller's in the Ben Stiller show was
Oh
a
my
lot of that as
gosh.
well. It was him using film language. He was like in that, yeah. And so yeah, there's a lot more that you can unlock when you just really like sort of use that medium.
And that's I've seen more modern, like the kind of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, whatever, um, people who really lean into it. Because there's a lot of like the sketch is we put a camera here and it's three guys on a couch
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, and they can be written well, but and there's a great YouTube channel called Every Frame a Painting, and I'm
Huh.
giving away like half of my class by
Okay.
pointing people to this. But he talks a lot about the intentionality, and there's a fantastic video about comedy, and he profiles Edgar Wright. He
Mm.
uses examples from Edgar Wright and Jaws as moments of surprise and comedy, as opposed to like the Judd Apatow model, which by necessity is more static, filmically speaking, because people are doing a lot of improv, coming up with new line, new line, new line game,
Yeah,
which it's a whole other thing. It's a different use of the medium.
yeah,
And I think getting to kind of open up people's minds to not just that, but you can you can tap into other parts even within yourself
yeah,
and get to utilize them.
yeah. And it's yeah, and the show don't tell side of your brain. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
How can I communicate this in so many other ways? But that's a good side of your brain to bring back into improv work as well,
Hmm.
because in improv work we do a lot of in scenes. Like we need to get on the same page, and however explicit you need to be to establish the relationship or whatever it is, be that explicit to make sure that it's clear. But at the same time, artfully, we hope to that it's more intimated what the relationship is, as opposed to it being "Hi, son," "Hi, father," that sort of
Right.
thing.
Yes.
But at the same, so we need that. We need that. We need to know that it's son and father. But how do we how do we get to a place where we can sort of suggest that as yeah concretely as possible?
No, but that is exactly something that when you and I have worked on camera work
Yeah,
before, I also got Dylan Davis,
yeah.
Isaac,
Oh yeah,
Sam,
Mick.
um, Mick, yeah, obviously to come out and play in my film projects before. And that is one of the things that attracted me into coming into the training center was, first of all, oh, and Ed Garcia, Ed was
Yeah,
out there as well on one of the days, to get to people. Um, First of all, you were very free. Everyone was very kind of fearless with their approach to taking on a character that may or may not be savory, and had so many ideas that informed the physicality. Because when I'm writing a script, obviously, like you kind of picture certain things, but then uh, acting wise and action wise, you guys, because of the stage presence, um, y- you're always building stage picture in
yeah,
your mind. Like once you get to a certain level of improv,
yeah.
you start thinking of how it's presented.
Okay.
And I think all of you guys that I just listed are kind of at that level where conceptually you're understanding that you need to be doing something and bringing something to the table, as it were.
Yeah.
Um, and kind of me reverse engineering that over time of like, wait, what did all these guys have in oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
One of the best conversations I ever had with you was one of
Hmm.
the first I ever had with you because it was after a Cherry Bomb show
Okay.
back when I was in Cherry Bomb, and it was a terrible show from my point of view, having been in the show. We were capable of doing so much better, but we came outside and we were talking with Elizabeth and you, and you said this thing, and you were very sincere about it. And I can tell that you weren't just blowing smoke. You were like,
Hmm.
to get through this form, to have done that for 45 minutes in
Hmm.
front of this full house of people, for y'all to have made this coherent thing is amazing. Like you had genuine appreciation for it. And then we slipped into a conversation about how we can appreciate about any movie at the level of you understand what a Herculean effort it was to make any single
Yes,
movie
yes.
happen.
Yeah.
And so that was like, yeah, that was my key into. I think I like this guy, and so every time, yeah, you start talking, yeah, it gets me like this because, uh, yeah, it's just it's a beautiful thing making this stuff, and it's so intricate, and it continues to get more intricate the more I get into it, which is what's great about yeah, this.
Well, and I think the perhaps, and I might be reading it wrong, but part of the thing where I think you and I connect, we never spoken explicitly, is uh, I love process.
Yeah,
It's the minutia that goes into it, and even um, the studying, the learning, the connecting with everybody, all of the pieces that make the thing, even if it's especially if it's improv, but even if it's a movie, it's kind of ephemeral. It is
yeah.
the result of process. It's not my goal to make the thing. And that's something I want to get across even in my class is I want people to make the thing they want, but have such a good time doing it that they want to do it again.
That's beautiful, and that this is how we end this.